Good day. My name is Logan Caldwell. I chose to research the model designed by Donna Eli and Vernon Gerlach. This model was not the first instructional design model, but it was one of the first widely accepted, organized approach to teaching, while also making considerations for the limited resources typically available to K-12 educators. This model serves classroom teachers well because it is suitable for beginning instructional designers who are subject matter experts in the content that will be delivered. The model has 10 key elements. It was defined as a classroom-oriented model because it typically takes 1 to a few hours of instruction for delivery. The Gerlach-Eli model considers the time constraints educators typically endure, indicating there is rarely a needs analysis conducted, and there's a small, if any, amount of revision after the instruction has been presented. There are limited assets dedicated to development because the instructor using this model normally selects materials provided from the school or district. Instruction using this model is generally designed and implemented by one individual who has not been required to be traditionally trained in instructional design. It is also well known that Gerlach and Eli denote that content is the key factor in their model creation. The model begins with specifying the content and objectives. Step 1 and 2 can happen in any order. Though Gerlach and Eli are clear they would rather teachers identify the lesson's objectives first. They acknowledge that many classroom teachers begin by thinking about instruction in relation to the content. And as Gustafson and Branch state, their model is one of only a few that recognizes this content orientation of many teachers. However, behavioral objectives are to be written and classified before making several design decisions. The next step does stand alone. Their model moves to pre-assess the students for any learning gaps that the delivery instruction will need to attend. This is important to do before the next phase, as the information gained during assessing the entering behaviors greatly influences the next phase. The next phase includes 5 simultaneous steps. Gerlach and Eli note that any decision in each of these steps can influence any number of the other steps in this phase. The simultaneous steps are identified as determination of strategy, organization of groups, allocation of time, allocation of space, and selection of resources. Determination of strategy is the first step listed in this phase. This step refers to how the teacher decides to deliver their instruction, whether it's face-to-face, lecture style, online, or another strategy leading to the next step of grouping students. This step requires teachers to determine how the students will be grouped. How much independent work, how much partner work, how much group work, or how much whole group work, or a combination of these factors. In addition, teachers have to think about time. How much time will be spent on each piece of the instruction? As you see, this greatly influences the strategy used to present the instruction and the grouping choices that we've already discussed. Allocation of space is the next to last phase in this section, and it's used to determine how the space provided for the teacher or finding a new place is utilized. This includes factoring in furniture or other built-in features of a classroom, or maybe the instructor chooses to move the classroom to a larger space or even off campus. The final factor listed in this phase is what resources will be used before, during, and after the instruction. Gerlach and Eli place a huge importance on locating and selecting resources only after adequate time has been spent on reviewing and developing with thoughts to the instructional delivery strategies that were chosen. Teachers typically do not design their own resources. They choose from what is provided from their school district and may modify the materials to meet the needs of their students, but rarely create the instructional materials from scratch. The next step is the evaluation of performance. This phase focuses solely on the evaluation of the student's performance and feelings concerning the subject matter and delivery of instruction. Evaluation is directly tied to the learning objective identified at the beginning. The designer should focus on efficiency and effectiveness of the instruction based on the evaluation results, leading to the final phase, the analysis of this feedback. During this stage, the designer makes observations and determinations on the level of efficiency and effectiveness of the instruction and modifies the choices made for the next time this instructional plan is used. Depending on the setup of the school, if the classroom is self-contained, a teacher may have to wait an entire year before any modifications can be implemented. If the classroom is departmentalized, where a teacher teaches more than one period of the same subject, the implementation of changes may occur the same day or with a different group of students. This model has not been updated because it focuses on the classroom teacher in a K-12 setting. The K-12 setting has not changed its overall dynamic since public school's invention. The teacher is the subject matter expert, designer, deliverer, and evaluator of the instruction. As Gustafson and Branch in 1997 state, Gerlach and Eli created an ID model specifically for the classroom teachers rather than for professional developers. Gerlach and Eli's assumption was that the individual classroom teacher would be both the developer and deliverer of instruction. Delivery in this case did not necessarily mean the teacher would be lecturing or acting as the primary source of knowledge, but rather the teacher would manage the classroom and the learners who would remain under his or her direct supervision and control. Unlike many other models that begin with analyzing a problem, Gerlach and Eli begin with analyzing content and objectives, a common point of departure for much teacher planning on page 75. Thank you for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed this presentation on the Gerlach and Eli model.